Scientists are baffled. 3I Atlas, that interstellar comet that's going through our solar system right now, appears to have reversed its thrust as it neared the sun. A comet from another star system slowing down? That shouldn't be possible. You know, guys, this is gotta be some kind of a sight unseen. But here's where it gets weirder. Just before the government shutdown, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, the MRO, apparently captured an image of 3I Atlas as it passed by Mars, and Avi Loeb says that he asked to see this image, being a scientist and all, but NASA ignored him. No response, no release, total silence. And then the shutdown hit, so we've got no new official data or updates, which is super convenient and also super sus. But there was this recently released image that allegedly shows 3I Atlas. Now, I've seen some people say this is a hoax, a fake, it's just a photoshopped image of a hex bolt, but it also reminds me of the objects that were seen on the infamous STS footage from the space shuttle missions in the 90s from the Tether incident. Kinda similar looking if you ask me. And now what's even more interesting is that the UN-backed International Asteroid Warning Network, the IAWN, has quietly placed 3I Atlas under continuous surveillance through January 2026, even though it's not going to come anywhere close to hitting us. Basically, they're calling it a monitoring exercise, but many think that it looks more like a global defense drill, or maybe this is all just a cover story. Because maybe it's not just a comet. Maybe this is a psyop, or a test for something bigger.
Well, scientists are keeping a close eye on a massive object flying straight toward our sun. The Manhattan-sized object is called 3I Atlas, and during observation, scientists have been seeing it change color and even grow a cometary tail. Their findings have led to some belief that this object may actually be made by another life form.
With the third trumpet, the waters, it said, are turned bitter, the fresh waters. It says that many people died from the waters that had become bitter. It's like the first trumpet, but its effect is upon not the seas, but it's upon the fresh water. And it says this, it's interesting, the star falls from heaven and it hits the fresh water and it's wormwood. Well, wormwood is interesting because it's a shrub-like plant that's noted not only for its extremely bitter taste, but it's also poisonous. And so somehow something happens, whether that star is an angel that's coming down to earth or whether it's some natural disaster, it's going to lead to a shortage of fresh water and that people are going to be dying because of dehydration. And then finally, in the fourth trumpet blast, and it says the third of the day without light and also a third of the night. This is probably a consequence of all the previous judgments where a huge mountain all ablaze, it says, is thrown into the sea and a great star blazing like a torch fell from the sky. Is this a massive projection of matter and steam into the atmosphere because of volcanic or meteors or asteroids landing upon the earth? Something that causes such an upheaval that literally it blots out the sun's rays, so that the days become shortened.
We had covered the DART mission, and so, that was involving was it the asteroid that was coming our way?
Yes.
And so it was the asteroid that was coming our way, and there was a really fascinating mission, and
Slammed into it.
And right, and I believe it was led by NASA at the time.
Yes.
It wasn't
Yes.
too long ago, and it was, it was like way to go. I mean, it was like perfect. NASA led the mission, and they ended up shooting something at the asteroid that was coming towards Earth. It worked. It was a successful mission. So is that maybe potentially possible? I don't know, but you said that whatever this is, the 3I Atlas, is absolutely huge, and it is extremely fast right now. So could that maybe potentially be a possibility? I don't know.
NASA's acting administrator Sean Duffy has replied to Kim Kardashian's inquiry about 3I Atlas, right? Kim says, wait, what's the tea about 3I Atlas? And Sean Duffy replies, NASA's observation shows that this is a third interstellar comet to pass through our solar system. No aliens, no threat to life here on Earth. And then goes down to kind of describe what 3I Atlas actually means, right? Which is a little bit strange. So, NASA, why the hell are you replying to Kim Kardashian's inquiry and not RV Loeb's and other astrophysicists and astronomers' inquiries about it, and thousands and thousands of other people like myself and other civilian populace that want to know more about the subject in question, right? Why are you replying to someone like this and not everyone else and researchers in the field that actually just want genuine questions and information? What's going on, right? NASA, you've been fumbling it hard recently, and I feel like, you know, with the best respects, get a grip of yourself, alright? And let us know what the hell is going on. I mean, you guys know my thoughts on the whole subject itself, but the information that obviously you guys know about and are withholding, which seems like you're withholding, and not actually answering the answers or questions of the general populace.
Breaking news, this footage is of the strange comet that's approaching Earth now. This is from Hawaii's satellite, or rather their telescope thing. Did you see that flash of light that's using multiple filters? They said, this is what they're showing us. Now, you may be thinking, am I concerned that this is an alien spacecraft coming to Earth? The answer to that is no. Am I concerned that this will be a psyop to make us think aliens are coming to Earth and then maybe Project Bluebeam happens? Yes, that is a rational concern. Now, if you don't know much about Project Bluebeam, it's basically the usage of holograms to depict something in the sky that's not really happening, that's completely fake, but can be used to further an agenda. For example, every city in the world sees some strange crafts in the sky at the same time. The media says, oh my gosh, we have been contacted and the aliens want this, that, or the other, or we have to make sure everyone isn't an alien, so you got to get a microchip. I mean, the ramifications of this go a long way. Now remember, we have a NASA physicist telling us this is very strange, it's alien-like, it could be otherworldly, nothing about it makes any sense for a normal comet to be emitting light and all that. So you just got to read the room here. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, aliens. They're saying that, which makes me think, what is the psyop here? What is the angle? Or key bono? Who benefits? And remember, we have seen so many Hollywood movies about things that happen in movies and then they happen in real life. We have yet to see, despite all the alien movies, we have yet to see a genuine alien, or rather a confirmed official alien situation on Earth yet. So we've been programmed in the media with so many other things that have happened. This might be the next one that it's time to happen.
Footage of deceased anti-gravity researcher Amy Eskridge, who allegedly took her own life, is going viral for claiming that disclosure would come from Huntsville, Alabama. This is viral because President Trump just announced that Space Force Command HQ is moving to Huntsville, Alabama.
Disclosure is going to come out of Huntsville, Alabama, out of Redstone Arsenal. Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama is the biggest fucking deal that you've never heard of. Because the fact is that we have deep and wide, extensive credibility that no one knows about. Now, like, Huntsville is the Silicon Valley of government national security technology and intelligence community technology and aerospace technology. Huntsville is like the hub. Like, we are number 3 on the first strike launch list.
Right off the bat, I gotta say, she sounds like she's drunk or on something.
She does sound something. But
she's also articulating a lot of this completely okay for the most part.
I do think the connection is interesting, that she's making the disclosure. She's saying disclosure will happen from Huntsville, but also Huntsville is an epicenter of all of this stuff.
Trying to navigate in my head the fact that this chick was just talking about basically getting killed for not being open about it, and she's open about it, and she's dead.
Have multiple Bluetooth attacks, like physical, proximal, within 100 feet of me physically Bluetooth attacks that I have logs and live packet captures for all over town. No, it's not cool. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. I have Bluetooth attacks that happened within 100 feet of me at my co-working space at my office and at local bars and at the local university.
She died of a gunshot wound on her front porch, front steps of her apartment. She had a genius for science and questioned the conventional wisdom and everything from the universe to the nanoparticles of the atom. She was an astute entrepreneur, chairwoman, and president of the Institute for Exotic Science in Huntsville, Alabama. She graduated from the University of Alabama in Huntsville. She co-founded this company, Institute for Exotic Science, after her graduation from UAH. With a double major in chemistry, biology, she became an interdisciplinarian and a master of electrical engineering and nanotechnology.
And then he goes on with the second trumpet. He says, a third of the sea turned into blood. A third of living creatures in the sea died. A third of the ships were destroyed. Not unlike what Moses did. It says in Exodus 7, he struck the water of the Nile, and all the water was changed into blood. And the fish in the Nile died, and the river swelled so bad that the Egyptians could not drink its water. It's interesting because this is something that has happened in the Nile River. It's where there's such a silt of red soil that comes into it. The river literally turns red, and it chokes off all life. The fish literally die. In the case where we find the frogs jumping out of the lake, it's because they can't breathe in this silted water. But there's also a thing called red tide that could be another option that basically does the same thing. It extinguishes, it grows, and it halts the whole transference of oxygen in and out of the water, and the plants, the fish in the sea die from it. And he said this is going to be so widespread that a third of the sea creatures are going to perish. They'll suffocate as well, along with a third of the ships that are destroyed. And we're not told in detail why that is. Well, as I said before, what's different about these particular judgments is not their dynamics, but that the scope of them is so destructive. It's kind of like the plagues upon Egypt, except cubed or multiplied many times over. Revelation chapter 8, beginning in verse 7. It reads as follows: The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down upon the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up. A third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. The second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a huge mountain all ablaze was thrown into the sea. And a third of the sea turned into blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky on a third of the rivers and the springs of water. And the name of the water is Wormwood. And a third of the waters were turned bitter, and many people died from the waters that became bitter. And the fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars. So the third of them turned dark. A third of the day was without light, and also a third of the night.
If you enjoyed today's video on Anonymous Official, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching and sticking with us.